So, firstly, let's talk about the biggest organ of our body. Yes, you're right, I'm talking about the skin. The body is covered by epithelium inside and outside. The skin, with its stratified squamous epithelium topped with a waterproof layer of keratin, covers the outside. It contains some large holes leading to areas covered by more permeable epithelium. Next, we have eyes. The eye drops are produced in porticulus and floods the moat, that is irritating particle, at the slightest provocation because it is determined to repel invaders before they can produce any tissue damage. The main parts of the eye should be transparent and able to transmit light without any distortion. A scarred cornea can render the eye useless, so anything worse than a little inflammation of the conjunctiva can be devastating. So the eye's defenses include a nerve reflex to close the eyelids as danger approaches, and lacrimal gland to secrete tears to wash away particles, chemicals, and bugs in a matter of seconds. In addition, tears contain lysozyme, an enzyme capable of degrading bacterial cell walls. If you ever had even the smallest scratch to the surface of your eye, you will know the flow of tears and desires to keep the eyelids closed for a while, until the epithelium covering is re-established. Fortunately, this generally takes less than 24 hours. Now let's talk about the organ that gives you your sense of smell. Yes, you're right, it's nose. The nose can be considered with the respiratory tract, since both are covered predominantly by respiratory epithelium. This is characterized by the presence of mucus-secreting cells and cilia. If I talk about cilia, these are tiny hair-like structures that beat in a synchronous fashion to move particles up the respiratory tract. A layer of mucus lines the respiratory tract, providing a barrier against infectious agents and trapping inhaled particles. The mucus layer acts as a conveyor belt propelled by the underlying cilia. This is mucociliary clearance mechanism, and it is severely damaged by smoking. The airways also have a nervous mechanism of defense in coughs and sneezes, which forcefully expels unwanted material. That is good for the individual, but potentially hazardous for those in the vicinity, as it is a super method of spread for airborne bugs. If microbes get past the mucociliary defense, they may enter into the lungs, where the second line of defense involving the macrophages in the alveoli. There are similar dual-purpose roles for hydrochloric acid and enzymes in the stomach or the secretion of small intestine. Their main role is digestion, and they may also be harmful to many microorganisms. Next organ is gut. The gut, like the respiratory tract, has a layer of protective mucus. Immunoglobulins are specifically made for the lining of the gut and disable many bacteria and other organisms ingested with food. The gut, of course, is not sterile. It is colonized by a range of bugs that often live in peaceful coexistence unless something upsets the balance. This commonly occurs when a course of antibiotic destroys one type of bacterium, so allowing another to overproliferate and cause problems, so-called antibiotic-associated or pseudomembranous colitis. Clostridium difficile is a bacteria that proliferates under such circumstances and secretes a toxin to produce bloody diarrhea. Next, we have urinary tract. The urinary tract is normally protected by one-way flow of urine from kidney to urethra, along tubes lined by a multi-layered transitional epithelium. There is no mucus barrier here, but it should not be needed. Women have short urethra and are more liable than men to the urinary tract infection that we name as UTI. The urine may have acidic or alkaline pH, favoring the growth of some bacterial strains over others. Hopefully, natural variations in the urinary pH will prevent a particular bacterium from becoming established and proliferating. Diabetics can have problem if the urine contains glucose, which will nourish bacterial growth. The genital tract of the female starts its defenses with the vagina, which is lined by non-keratinizing stratified squamous epithelium and mucus, and friendly colonies of Deuteriens bacillus, a lactobacillus that metabolizes glycogen to lactic acid to produce a pH 5, which inhibits colonization by most other bacteria. Unfortunately, glycogen is only present when the vaginal epithelium is stimulated by estrogens between puberty and the menopause. At other ages, the vagina is alkaline and liable to infections with pathogenic staphylococci and streptococci. The main defense, however, is the mucus, lysosome, and the ciliary action in the normal cervix. The uterus and the tubes are specialized for their reproductive role, but it is possible that the monthly shedding of the endometrium may be a useful defense against infections. The stereocilia in the fallopian tubes, while wafting the ovum down, produce currents that may help to prevent bacteria from ascending. This army comes swiftly to the defense within seconds and minutes of damage occurring. The mouth and the anus form the ends of the gastrointestinal tract, and both are protected by non-keratinizing stratified squamous epithelium and a layer of mucus from local glands. The mouth has teeth and an enzyme named as amylase, both of which, it could be argued, have a defensive role, but the main purpose is clearly related to digestion. Now let's revise what we have learned today. Starting from skin, in skin we have keratin as a defense mechanism. For eyes we have tears. In nose we have hair and mucin. For bronchus we have cilia and mucin. For lungs we have macrophages. For stomach we have acid. Similarly, intestine has bile and pancreatic secretion along with mucus. In urinary tract, we have flushing effect. In vagina, we have lactobacilli and other flora. Lastly, we have all mucosal surfaces, which involves mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue. When the first line of defense fails, the body then activates its army that are ready for the attack against pathogens. We name it as innate immunity. But that's the topic for another day. We have also covered cells involved in immunity on our website. You can check the link in the description below. For more interesting and videos with full jam-packed knowledge, keep watching sqadia.com.